Imagine waking up one day and suddenly seeing the world in a whole new light. Everything around you seems brighter, more connected, and full of hidden meaning. Sounds amazing, right? Well, that's exactly what can happen when you start to understand some key spiritual ideas. These aren't complicated theories or hard-to-grasp concepts. They're simple yet incredibly powerful insights that have the potential to completely transform your life. Today, we're going to dive into some spiritual things you really need to know. These ideas might seem basic at first, but don't let that fool you. They're like hidden treasures that have been right in front of us all along. Once you start to see them and use them in your daily life, you'll be amazed at how much things can change for the better. Think about it like this. Have you ever felt stuck in a rut, like you're just going through the motions day after day? Or maybe you've had times when you felt lost, unsure of your place in the world, or what your purpose might be. We've all been there, and it's not a great feeling. But here's the exciting part. The spiritual ideas we're going to talk about today can help you break free from those feelings. They can give you a fresh perspective on life, open up new possibilities, and help you feel more connected to the world around you. And the best part? You don't need any special skills or knowledge to get started. These are ideas that anyone can understand and put into practice, no matter where you are in your life journey. Whether you're a complete beginner when it comes to spirituality, or you've been exploring these concepts for years, there's something here for everyone. So, are you ready to see the world in a whole new way? Are you ready to unlock the power of these spiritual insights and start living a more fulfilling, peaceful, and joyful life? Great! Let's get started on this exciting journey together. Now, you might be wondering, why should I care about these spiritual ideas? How are they going to make a difference in my life? Those are great questions, and the answers might surprise you. Understanding and applying these spiritual concepts can have a profound impact on your life in ways you might not expect. First and foremost, these spiritual ideas can be a powerful source of happiness and inner peace. In our fast-paced, often stressful world, finding true happiness and a sense of calm can sometimes feel like an impossible task. We're constantly bombarded with messages telling us that we need more stuff, more money, or more success to be happy. But the truth is, real, lasting happiness comes from within. It comes from understanding ourselves and our place in the universe on a deeper level. When you start to grasp these spiritual concepts, you'll begin to see that happiness isn't something that happens to you because of external circumstances. It's a state of being that you can cultivate from within, regardless of what's going on around you. This doesn't mean you'll never feel sad or stressed again. That's just part of being human. But it does mean that you'll have powerful tools to help you navigate life's ups and downs with more grace and resilience. Another reason why these spiritual ideas matter so much is that they can help you if you've been feeling lost or stuck in life. We all go through periods where we feel like we're just spinning our wheels, not making any progress towards our goals or dreams. Maybe you've been questioning your career path, your relationships, or your purpose in life. These are big, heavy questions that can weigh us down and make us feel overwhelmed. But here's the thing. The spiritual concepts we're going to explore can help you find clarity and direction. They can help you tap into your inner wisdom and intuition, guiding you towards the path that's right for you. When you start to see the world through a spiritual lens, you'll begin to notice signs and synchronicities that you might have missed before. These can serve as guideposts, helping you make decisions and move forward in life with more confidence and purpose. If you've been feeling stuck or lost, this video is especially for you. The ideas we're going to discuss can be like a breath of fresh air, clearing away the fog of confusion and uncertainty. They can help you reconnect with your true self and rediscover your passions and purpose. It's not about finding all the answers overnight. It's about starting a journey of self-discovery and growth that can lead you to a more fulfilling and authentic life. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This all sounds great, but is it really practical? Can I actually use these ideas in my everyday life? Absolutely. In fact, one of the best things about these spiritual concepts is that they're not just abstract theories. They're tools that you can put into practice right away. Throughout this video, I'll be sharing simple techniques and exercises that you can start using today to bring more spirituality into your life. These aren't complicated rituals or time-consuming practices. They're straightforward, easy-to-implement ideas that can fit into even the busiest schedule. In fact, I want to give you a little teaser of what's to come. Later in the video, I'm going to share a super simple trick that I use every single day to feel more connected and spiritual. It's something that takes just a few minutes, but it has made a huge difference in my life. I still use it to this day, and I can't wait to share it with you. So, whether you're looking to find more happiness and peace in your life, seeking direction and purpose, or just curious about exploring spirituality in a practical way, you're in the right place. These spiritual things you need to know have the power to transform your life from the inside out. Are you ready to take the first step on this exciting journey? Let's dive in. Let's start with one of the most fundamental and mind-blowing spiritual concepts out there: the idea that we're all connected. Now, I know that might sound a bit out there at first, but stick with me, because understanding this idea can completely change the way you see the world and interact with others. When we talk about being connected, we're not just talking about our connections to other people, although that's certainly part of it. We're talking about a deep, fundamental connection that exists between everything in the universe. Every person, every animal, every plant, every star, even things we can't see, like atoms and energy. It's all part of one big, interconnected web. Think of it like this. Imagine a huge spider web stretching out as far as the eye can see. Each strand of the web is connected to many others, creating a complex and beautiful pattern. Now, imagine that every living thing, and even non-living things, are like little beads on this web. When one bead moves, it sends tiny vibrations through the strands, affecting all the other beads to some degree. That's kind of what we mean when we say everything is connected. Or, for a more modern analogy, think about the internet. When you post something online, it doesn't just stay on your computer. It travels through a vast network of connections, potentially reaching people on the other side of the world in an instant. In a similar way, our thoughts, actions, and energy are constantly interacting with the world around us, creating ripples that extend far beyond what we can see. Now, you might be wondering, okay, but what does this actually mean for me in my everyday life? Great question. Understanding that we're all connected can have a profound impact on how we treat others and the world around us. When you really get this concept, you start to see that hurting others is ultimately hurting yourself, because we're all part of the same big system. On the flip side, when you help others or show kindness, you're contributing positively to the whole web of life, and that positive energy will eventually find its way back to you. This idea of connection can also help us feel less alone in the world. Even when we're physically by ourselves, we can take comfort in knowing that we're still part of something much bigger. We're connected to the trees outside our window, to the birds singing in the morning, to the stars shining at night, and to every other person on this planet. Understanding our connection to everything can also foster a greater sense of responsibility for the world around us. When we see ourselves as separate from nature, it's easy to abuse or neglect the environment. But when we recognize that we're part of nature, that our well-being is tied to the well-being of the planet, we're more likely to take care of it. This concept of connection even extends to our understanding of time. Many spiritual traditions teach that past, present, and future are all connected, all happening in one eternal now. While that might be a bit mind-bending to think about, it can help us see how our actions in the present moment can shape our future and even heal our past. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, this all sounds nice, but how do I actually experience this connection? That's a great question, and the good news is that there are lots of ways to tap into this sense of interconnectedness. One simple way is to spend time in nature. Go for a walk in the woods, sit by a stream, or even just spend some time looking at the stars. As you do, try to really pay attention to your surroundings. Notice the intricate patterns in leaves and flowers. Listen to the symphony of bird songs and rustling leaves. Feel the earth beneath your feet. Try to see yourself not as separate from all of this, but as a part of it. Another powerful way to experience connection is through acts of kindness and compassion. When you help someone else, even in a small way, you're strengthening the bonds that connect us all. It could be something as simple as holding the door for someone, offering a kind word to someone who's having a bad day, or volunteering for a cause you care about. As you do these things, try to really feel the connection between yourself and the person you're helping. Meditation is another great tool for experiencing connection. As you quiet your mind and turn your attention inward, you might start to sense the vast web of connections that extends beyond your physical body. Some people describe feeling a sense of oneness with everything during deep meditation. You can also practice seeing the connection in your everyday interactions. The next time you're talking with someone, whether it's a loved one or a stranger, try to really see them. Look into their eyes and remember that they, like you, are a part of this vast, interconnected web of life. They have their own hopes, fears, joys, and sorrows, just like you do. Understanding and experiencing our interconnectedness can be a lifelong journey. It's not something that happens overnight, but rather something that deepens over time as we continue to explore and practice. But even small steps in this direction can have big impacts on our lives and the world around us. When we truly get that we're all connected, it becomes natural to treat others with more kindness and compassion. We start to see that helping others is ultimately helping ourselves. We become more mindful of our actions and their potential ripple effects. We feel a greater sense of belonging in the world and a deeper connection to nature. So, as you go about your day, try to keep this idea of connection in mind. Look for the ways you're connected to the people and world around you. Notice how your actions affect others and how their actions affect you. Remember that you're not just a separate individual, but a vital part of the great web of life. This understanding of our interconnectedness is just the beginning of our spiritual journey. It sets the stage for many of the other concepts we'll explore. Because once we understand that we're all connected, we can start to see how our thoughts and actions shape our reality in powerful ways. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. Have you ever noticed how some days everything seems to go your way, while on others, nothing seems to work out? Many people chalk this up to luck or coincidence. But what if I told you that your own thoughts might be playing a big role in shaping these experiences? This brings us to our next big spiritual idea, the incredible power of your thoughts. Now, when we talk about thoughts being powerful, we're not talking about magic or wishful thinking. We're talking about the very real way that our thoughts influence our perceptions, our actions, and ultimately, the outcomes in our lives. It's like having a superpower that you might not even realize you have. Think about it this way. Your mind is like a super smart computer that's always running in the background. Every thought you have is like a piece of code that you're feeding into this computer. And just like a computer program, the code of your thoughts helps determine what shows up on the screen of your life. Let's break this down with a simple example. Imagine you have a big test coming up. If you constantly think, I'm going to fail this test, what do you think is likely to happen? You might feel stressed and anxious, which could affect your sleep and your ability to focus while studying. You might not put in as much effort because you've already decided you're going to fail anyway. And when you sit down to take the test, you might be so nervous that you have trouble remembering what you've learned. On the other hand, if you approach the test thinking, I've studied hard and I'm going to do my best, you're setting yourself up for a very different experience. You'll probably feel more confident and relaxed, which can help you sleep better and study more effectively. When you take the test, you're more likely to be calm and focused, giving yourself the best chance to succeed. This doesn't mean that just thinking positive thoughts guarantees everything will always go your way. Life is complex, and there are many factors that influence what happens to us. But our thoughts play a huge role in how we perceive and react to situations, which in turn affects the outcomes we experience. Understanding the power of your thoughts isn't just about trying to think positively all the time. It's about becoming aware of your thought patterns and learning to guide them in ways that serve you better. It's about realizing that you have more control over your experiences than you might have believed. This concept ties back to our earlier discussion about interconnection. Remember how we talked about everything being part of a big web? Well, your thoughts are like vibrations on that web. They send out ripples that affect not just you, but the world around you. When you change your thoughts, you change the energy you're putting out into the world, which can lead to changes in what comes back to you. First, start paying attention to your thoughts. Many of us go through our days on autopilot, not really noticing what's going on in our minds. Take some time each day to pause and notice what you're thinking. Are your thoughts mostly positive or negative? Are you focused on what you want or what you're afraid of? Next, try challenging negative thoughts when you notice them. If you catch yourself thinking something like, "I'm not good enough," pause and ask yourself if that's really true. Look for evidence that contradicts that thought. Remember times when you've succeeded or when people have appreciated you. Another powerful technique is visualization. This is like daydreaming on purpose. Spend a few minutes each day imagining yourself succeeding at your goals, feeling the way you want to feel, or living the life you want to live. Really try to make these visualizations as vivid and detailed as possible. Feel the emotions you would feel if these things were happening right now. Affirmations can also be a great tool. These are positive statements that you repeat to yourself regularly. For example, you might say something like, "I am capable of handling whatever comes my way," or "I am worthy of love and success." At first, these might feel a bit silly or fake, but over time, they can help reshape your underlying beliefs about yourself and the world. Remember, changing your thought patterns takes time and practice. Don't get discouraged if you find yourself slipping into old thought habits. Just gently guide yourself back to more positive and empowering thoughts. It's like training a puppy. You need patience and consistency, but with time, it gets easier. As you start to harness the power of your thoughts, you might be surprised at the changes you see in your life. You might find yourself feeling more confident, attracting more positive experiences, and handling challenges with greater ease. You're not just changing your mind, you're changing your world. Now that we've talked about the power of your thoughts, let's explore another key spiritual concept that's closely related: the importance of living in the present moment. This idea is at the heart of many spiritual traditions, and for good reason. It has the potential to dramatically improve our quality of life and our sense of well-being. So what do we mean by living in the now? Simply put, it's about focusing your attention on what's happening right here, right now, instead of getting caught up in thoughts about the past or worries about the future. It's about fully experiencing and engaging with the present moment, whatever it might bring. This might sound simple, but if you start paying attention, you'll probably notice that your mind spends a lot of time anywhere but the present. Maybe you're reliving an argument you had yesterday, or worrying about a presentation you have to give next week. Or perhaps you're daydreaming about your next vacation while you're sitting in traffic. Our minds are often like time machines, constantly jumping between past and future, rarely settling in the present. The problem with this mental time travel is that it often leads to unnecessary stress and unhappiness. When we dwell on the past, we might get stuck in regret or resentment over things we can't change. When we worry about the future, we create anxiety about things that might never happen. All of this takes us away from fully living and appreciating our lives as they're unfolding right now. Think about it. The present moment is the only time we can actually do anything, the only time we can actually live. The past is gone, and the future hasn't arrived yet. By learning to focus more on the present, we can reduce stress, increase our enjoyment of life, and even improve our performance in various tasks. Living in the now doesn't mean you never think about the past or plan for the future. Those things have their place. It's about finding a balance where you can reflect on the past or plan for the future when it's useful, but not get so caught up in those thoughts that you miss out on your life as it's happening. One of the easiest ways to bring yourself into the present moment is to focus on your breath. Your breath is always happening now, so it's like an anchor to the present moment. Try taking a few deep breaths, really feeling the sensation of the air moving in and out of your body. Whenever you notice your mind wandering, gently bring your attention back to your breath. Another technique is to practice using your senses. Take a moment to really notice what you can see, hear, smell, taste, and feel right now. Maybe you notice the colors of the objects around you, the sounds of birds outside, the feel of your clothes against your skin. This simple practice can quickly bring you back to the present moment. You can also try bringing more mindfulness to everyday activities. For example, when you're eating, really pay attention to the taste, texture, and smell of your food. When you're walking, notice the sensation of your feet touching the ground. When you're talking with someone, really listen to what they're saying instead of thinking about what you're going to say next. Mindfulness meditation is another powerful tool for developing present moment awareness. This involves setting aside some time to sit quietly and focus your attention on the present moment, often using your breath as an anchor. When thoughts come up, which they will, you simply notice them and then gently bring your attention back to your breath or whatever you're focusing on. Remember, living in the now is a skill that takes practice. Our minds are used to wandering, so it's normal to find it challenging at first. The key is to be patient with yourself and keep gently bringing your attention back to the present moment whenever you notice it has wandered. As you practice living more in the present, you might start to notice some positive changes. You might find that you're less stressed and anxious. You might enjoy your experiences more fully. You might even find that you're more productive because you're able to focus more fully on the task at hand instead of getting distracted by thoughts about other things. Living in the now also ties back to our earlier discussions about interconnection and the power of thoughts. When we're fully present, we're more able to notice the connections between ourselves and the world around us. We're also more aware of our thoughts, which gives us more ability to guide them in positive directions. Now, let's dive into another fascinating spiritual concept that you've probably heard of before: karma. You might have heard people say things like, "What goes around comes around," or "you reap what you sow." These are simple ways of describing the basic idea of karma. At its core, the concept of karma is about cause and effect. It's the idea that our actions have consequences, not just in the immediate moment, but in the broader scope of our lives and even beyond. Every thought, word, and deed sets in motion a chain of effects that eventually come back to us in some form. Now, it's important to understand that karma isn't about punishment or reward from some outside force. It's more like a natural law, like gravity. Just as what goes up must come down, the energy we put out into the world through our actions tends to come back to us in similar form. Think of it like this. Imagine you're standing in front of a huge mirror. Whatever face you make at the mirror, it makes the same face back at you. If you smile, the reflection smiles. If you frown, the reflection frowns. Karma works in a similar way. The mirror, in this case, is the universe or life itself, reflecting back to us the energy we put out. Let's look at some everyday examples of how karma might work. If you're consistently kind and helpful to others, you're more likely to receive kindness and help when you need it. This isn't because the universe is rewarding you, but because you've created a pattern of kindness around you. People are more likely to want to help someone who's known for being helpful themselves. On the flip side, if you're often rude or inconsiderate, you might find that people are less willing to help you or want to be around you. Again, this isn't punishment, but a natural consequence of the energy you've been putting out. Karma isn't just about big, dramatic actions. It's also about the small things we do every day. The way we treat the cashier at the store, how we react when someone cuts us off in traffic, the tone we use when speaking to our family members. All of these seemingly small actions are creating ripples of karma. Understanding karma can be incredibly empowering. It helps us see that we have a lot of influence over what happens in our lives. We're not just passive recipients of random events, but active creators of our experiences. Every action we take is like planting a seed. We might not see the results immediately, but eventually, that seed will grow and bear fruit. This doesn't mean that everything that happens to us is a direct result of our actions. Life is complex, and many factors influence what we experience. But the concept of karma encourages us to take responsibility for our part in creating our life experiences. First, try to become more aware of your actions and their potential consequences. Before you say or do something, take a moment to consider, if this energy came back to me, would I be happy to receive it? This simple reflection can help guide us towards more positive actions. Practice random acts of kindness. Do nice things for others without expecting anything in return. Remember, the act of giving itself creates positive karma, regardless of whether the person knows you did it or thanks you for it. When something good happens to you, express gratitude. This isn't just about being polite. Gratitude itself is a positive action that creates good karma. If you find yourself in a situation where someone has treated you poorly, try to respond with kindness if possible, rather than retaliating. This breaks the cycle of negative karma and creates positive karma instead. Remember that karma isn't just about actions, but also about thoughts and intentions. Try to cultivate positive thoughts and intentions, even in challenging situations. It's also important to understand that the effects of karma aren't always immediate. Sometimes the consequences of our actions might not show up for a long time. This is why patience and consistency are important when working with the concept of karma. Understanding karma can also help us navigate difficult situations. When something challenging happens, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this?" Or, "How can I respond in a way that creates positive karma?" Karma ties back to our earlier discussions about interconnection and the power of thoughts. Our actions and their karmic effects are part of the interconnected web of life. And just as our thoughts shape our reality, our actions shape our karmic patterns. As you start to work with the concept of karma in your life, you might notice some positive changes. You might find yourself making more considerate choices. You might start to see patterns in your life that you hadn't noticed before. And you might feel a greater sense of empowerment, knowing that you have the ability to shape your experiences through your actions. Remember, the goal isn't to be perfect or to never make mistakes. We're all human, and we all have moments when we don't act in the best way. The important thing is to be aware, to learn from our experiences, and to keep trying to put positive energy out into the world. Over time, this positive energy will come back to us in beautiful and often unexpected ways. Let's dive into another fascinating spiritual concept that you might have heard people talk about: energy and vibes. You've probably heard someone say something like, "That place had a weird vibe," or "I really like that person's energy." But what do we really mean when we talk about energy and vibes in a spiritual context? In the spiritual world, when we talk about energy, we're not talking about the kind of energy you learned about in science class, although there are some interesting connections. We're talking about a subtler kind of energy that surrounds and flows through everything. Some people call it life force, chi, or prana. Whatever you call it, this energy is believed to influence how we feel, how we interact with others, and even the events that unfold in our lives. Think of it like this: everything in the universe, including you, is constantly giving off and receiving energy. It's like we're all walking around in an invisible sea of energy, constantly influencing and being influenced by the energies around us. Now, when we talk about vibes, we're really talking about the feeling or impression we get from this energy. Have you ever walked into a room right after people have had an argument? Even if no one says anything, you can often feel the tension in the air. That's you picking up on the energy or vibe of the place. On the flip side, have you ever met someone who just seems to light up the room? That's also about energy, in this case, a very positive, uplifting kind of energy. Understanding energy and vibes can be really helpful in our daily lives. When we become more aware of the energies around us, we can make better choices about where we spend our time and who we spend it with. We can also learn to manage our own energy, which can have a big impact on our well-being and our interactions with others. First, start paying attention to how different people, places, and situations make you feel. Do you feel energized and uplifted, or drained and down? This is you tuning into the energy or vibe. Practice visualization to help manage your own energy. Imagine yourself surrounded by a bubble of light. When you encounter negative energy, imagine it bouncing off your bubble, unable to affect you. Learn some simple energy clearing techniques. For example, you might imagine white light filling a room and clearing out any negative energy. Or you could use sound, like clapping your hands or ringing a bell, to shift the energy in a space. Be mindful of the energy you're putting out. Remember, just like karma, the energy you send out tends to come back to you. Try to approach situations with positive, loving energy. Consider the impact of your physical environment on energy. Decluttering, bringing in plants, or rearranging furniture can all help to shift the energy of a space. As you become more aware of energy, you might start to notice how it affects different areas of your life. You might find yourself naturally gravitating towards people and places with positive energy and feeling more capable of handling situations with challenging energy. Now, let's talk about something that might seem simple but is incredibly powerful: gratitude. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you when someone does something nice for you, although that's important too. In a spiritual context, gratitude is a way of being, a lens through which we view the world. When we practice gratitude, we're focusing our attention on the good things in our lives, no matter how small they might seem. It's about recognizing and appreciating the positives, even and especially when things are tough. You might be wondering, how can being thankful really make a big difference in my life? Well, the power of gratitude is backed up not just by spiritual teachings, but by scientific research too. Studies have shown that people who regularly practice gratitude tend to be happier, healthier, and more resilient in the face of challenges. First, gratitude shifts our focus. Instead of dwelling on what's wrong or what we lack, we start noticing all the good things we might have been taking for granted. This simple shift in perspective can dramatically change how we experience our lives. Gratitude also helps us tap into positive emotions. When we feel grateful, we can't simultaneously feel negative emotions like anger or resentment. It's like gratitude crowds out the negative feelings and makes more room for positive ones. Moreover, gratitude can improve our relationships. When we express appreciation to others, it strengthens our connections. People like to feel appreciated, and when we regularly show gratitude, it can deepen our bonds with friends, family, and even colleagues. Gratitude can even impact our physical health. Research has linked gratitude practice to better sleep, improved immune function, and lower stress levels. Keep a gratitude journal. Each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things. It could be as simple as a delicious cup of coffee or a beautiful sunset. Practice gratitude meditation. Spend a few minutes each day sitting quietly and focusing on things you're thankful for. Really try to feel the gratitude in your body. Express appreciation to others. Make it a point to tell people in your life what you appreciate about them. This not only spreads positive energy, but also helps you notice more things to be grateful for. Turn complaints into gratitude. When you catch yourself complaining, try to find something to be grateful for in the situation. For example, if you're stuck in traffic, you could be grateful for the extra time to listen to your favorite podcast. Use visual reminders. Put sticky notes with things you're grateful for around your home or workspace. This can help you remember to stay in a grateful mindset throughout the day. As you practice gratitude regularly, you might start to notice some changes. You might find yourself feeling happier and more content. You might start to see opportunities and blessings where you once saw only problems. You might even find that more good things start coming into your life. Remember, what we focus on tends to grow. Now, let's talk about one of the most powerful tools for spiritual growth and overall well-being: meditation. If you're new to spirituality, the idea of meditation might seem a bit intimidating. You might picture monks sitting for hours in perfect silence, or worry that you need to somehow empty your mind completely. But the truth is, meditation can be much simpler and more accessible than that. At its core, meditation is simply the practice of focusing your attention. It's about learning to be present with what is, rather than getting caught up in thoughts about the past or future. And while there are many different types of meditation, you don't need to master complex techniques to start experiencing the benefits. So why is meditation such a big deal in the spiritual world? Well, there are a lot of reasons. First, meditation helps us develop greater awareness. As we practice observing our thoughts and feelings without getting caught up in them, we start to understand ourselves better. We become more aware of our patterns, our reactions, and the workings of our own minds. Meditation is also a powerful stress reducer. In our busy, often chaotic world, taking time to sit quietly and focus inward can be incredibly calming. It gives our nervous systems a chance to relax and reset. Regular meditation practice can also help improve our concentration and focus. In a world full of distractions, the ability to direct and maintain our attention is incredibly valuable. Meditation can even help us develop greater compassion and empathy. As we learn to sit with our own thoughts and feelings, we often become more understanding of others' experiences too. On a spiritual level, many people find that meditation helps them feel more connected to something larger than themselves. It can be a way of touching into a sense of peace, love, or unity that goes beyond our everyday experiences. So how can you get started with meditation, especially if you're a complete beginner? Here's a simple technique you can try. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably, either on a chair or on the floor. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths, feeling your belly rise and fall. Now, simply focus your attention on your breath. Notice the sensation of the air moving in and out of your body. When you notice your mind has wandered, which it will, probably many times, gently bring your attention back to your breath. Don't judge yourself or get frustrated. Mind wandering is a totally normal part of meditation. Start with just 5 minutes a day. As you get more comfortable, you can gradually increase the time. Remember, the goal of meditation isn't to have a perfectly clear mind. It's about noticing when your mind has wandered and gently bringing it back. Each time you do this, it's like doing a rep in a mental workout. There are also many great apps and guided meditations available if you prefer some extra support as you're getting started. The important thing is to find a method that works for you and to practice regularly. Even a few minutes a day can make a big difference over time. As you develop a meditation practice, you might start to notice some changes. You might find yourself feeling calmer and more centered. You might be better able to handle stress and challenging emotions. You might even start to see the world around you in a new light. We've covered a lot of ground in this exploration of spiritual concepts, from understanding our deep interconnection with everything around us, to recognizing the power of our thoughts, living in the present moment, understanding karma, working with energy, practicing gratitude, and exploring meditation. Each of these ideas offers a pathway to a richer, more fulfilling life. Remember, spirituality isn't about achieving perfection or completely transforming your life overnight. It's a journey, a process of growth and discovery that unfolds over time. The key is to start where you are, with what you have, right now. As you begin to explore and apply these concepts in your life, be patient and kind with yourself. Some days you might feel like you're making great progress, while other days might feel like you're taking steps backward. That's all part of the journey. What matters most is your intention and your willingness to keep learning and growing. Start small. Maybe choose 1 or 2 ideas that really resonate with you and focus on those for a while. As you get more comfortable, you can gradually incorporate more practices into your life. Also, remember that spirituality is deeply personal. What works for one person might not work for another. Feel free to explore, to question, to adapt these ideas in ways that feel authentic and meaningful to you. Above all, trust your own experiences. As you work with these concepts, pay attention to how they affect your life. Do you feel more peaceful, more connected, more empowered? These are signs that you're on the right track. You're embarking on an incredible journey of self-discovery and growth. There will be challenges along the way, but there will also be moments of profound insight, deep peace, and pure joy. Every step you take on this path is an opportunity to create a life filled with more meaning, love, and fulfillment. Remember, you're amazing and full of potential. You have within you everything you need to create a life you love. Trust in that, believe in yourself, and keep moving forward on your spiritual path. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of spiritual wisdom. I hope these ideas inspire you to dive deeper, to keep learning, growing, and discovering the incredible richness of your own spiritual journey. Here's to your continued growth and to all the wonderful discoveries that lie ahead.